These are the times when Bart Simpson was a victim on The Simpsons. Let's start early in the show with Season 1, Episode 5, Bart the General. This is the episode where Bart goes to war.
Unless, of course, war were declared.
Well, not war. More like war with a bully. Of course, that bully's Nelson Muntz, the resident expert. But this is Season 1, Nelson, so there's not much of that witty repartee in later seasons. He's a classy bully, beating up kids and swiping lunch money back when it wasn't just a figure of speech. When Nelson's cronies demolish Lisa's cupcakes, Bart stands up for her. That standing up involves getting beaten to a pulp. There's no reasoning with Nelson. Bart tries talking to Nelson, but he gets beaten up.
Put him up.
Bart tries fighting back, but he gets beaten again. To finally beat Nelson, Bart must fight more like a military leader, a general if you will. When Bart asks Grandpa for help, he is directed towards Herman, the owner of a military surplus store. With his one arm, Herman points Bart towards war for inspiration.
Fight Nelson, the bully. That guy has been tormenting all of us for years, and I, for one, am sick of it.
Victims of Nelson are recruited into Bart's army, where they train to defeat Nelson. Despite the reference to Full Metal Jacket, there's no killing involved. Well, unless Nelson unveils a water balloon, a coordinated bombardment of balloons at H2O assaults Nelson. With his goons retreating, Bart has captured Nelson because you can't kill bullies in The Simpsons if it's not a Treehouse of Horror episode. But what now? Bart realizes he can't keep Nelson tied up forever, so Bart took the diplomatic route and achieve peace. Of course, real peace doesn't arrive so easily in war. That's why Bart gives us a PSA and tells the audience to go to the library. Because, let's face it, you probably shouldn't be learning about war and peace from an animated sitcom on Fox. Now, let's move on to Season 1, Episode 11, The Crepes of Wrath. The episode where Bart was abused in Francais. Bart's latest cherry bomb prank has gone too far, but by that, we mean it launched Principal Skinner's mother too far into the ceiling.
Right there, you mother.
Skinner recommends a foreign exchange program. That leaves Bart being shipped off to live with a French family. Well, it's not too much a family as a scheming wine business. Bart stays with Cesar and Hugelin, two winemakers who own their own vineyard. They put Bart to work as their slave.
Envoie le garçon. Oh. Oh, Bart.
Breaking all sorts of child labor laws. That's bad enough, but it gets worse. The two men steal his clothes and force him to sleep in the hay.
The floor is good enough for you. You go to sleep there.
Not exactly the Ritz. The only positive benefit Bart might have figured out was that he could drink wine. Unfortunately, he discovers Cesar and Hugelin pouring antifreeze into the wine. Bart is then forced to drink it. He doesn't seem to go blind, and that's good enough for these swindlers. Bart can only escape the situation if he speaks French. By a stroke of luck, he masters the language enough to tell the authorities and is saved.
Et je ne sais pas un mot. Eh! Mais je parle français maintenant. Incroyable! Et monsieur, aidez-moi. Ces deux types nous font travailler jour et nuit. Ils ne me donnent pas à manger. Ils nous font dormir par terre. Ils mettent antifreeze de vent. Et ils ont donné mon chapeau rouge. Alors?
For his efforts to stop these winemakers, the bilingual Bart is rewarded. He earned it after everything he's been through. Just make sure Homer checks that wine for antifreeze.
White guy stuck a cork in the bottle.
Oh, mon père, quel bouffon.
You hear that, Marge? My boy speaks French.
Next is Season 2, Episode 10. Bart gets hit by a car. In this episode, well, the title says it all. This is one of the few episodes to even state the title in the opening credits. While skateboarding, Bart is run over by a car driven by Mr. Burns. The boy briefly dies and is sent to hell. Whether or not Bart deserves to be in hell is another topic, but he didn't deserve to be hit with a car. Sure, Bart isn't exactly traumatized after his hospitalization.
For a minute, you got away from us. I did go away, Mom.
But legal actions does need to be taken. After all, Mr. Burns only offers $100 for his vehicular incident, which wouldn't even cover Bart's medical bills. However, Homer hires Lionel Hutz, a greedy lawyer, considering he wants to help Bart get $1 million for his case. Bart does become less of a victim after Hutz is hired. This is due to his performance in court, which ensures he'll win and plays on the jury's sympathies. This plan backfires when Marge takes a stand and tells the truth, which sinks the case. The Simpsons get nothing for their medical bills. So technically, Bart is a victim of the first third of the episodes, but he's still a victim of being hit by a car. Also, let's face it, Burns probably thinks nothing of running over kids. Then there's Season Season 3, Episode 4, Bart the Murderer, which isn't entirely accurate in the title. Bart had a terrible day at school and ended up skateboarding home in the rain. When questioning what else could go wrong, he ends up in the stairwell of the Springfield Mafia.
What next? Uh-oh.
He's given the gangster greeting of guns to his face, an early inspiration for the John Wick 2 poster. The mobsters, led by Fat Tony, are not happy about Bart crashing their joint.
Pick a horse, kid. Shelbyville Downs, third race. Make it a good one.
Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts. Ah, okay. Let's see. Hey, wait a minute, you little punk. Eat my shorts is in the 5th race. I said the 3rd race.
Don't have a cow.
Don't have a cow in the 3rd. Put a deuce on him.
Unsure what to do with the kid, Bart's insults make him a lucky guesser for horse rating bets. But that's not exactly a skill. Even the mobsters dumb enough to believe he's lucky, so they put Bart to work as a bartender, making a Manhattan for Louis. As it turns out, Bart's a natural, pulling a Ted Danson from Cheers, skilled at making drinks, but refuses to drink them.
Well?
Superb.
For being a monster of cocktails, Bart starts working for the Mafia. His salary turns him into a big shot at home and around the school. Despite his attempts at bribery, Skinner still gives Bart detention.
What's this? What are you boys doing?
She didn't see nothing. Now beat it.
Maybe on a lesser teach, that might have worked, but not the do-gooding Skinner. This detention makes Bart late for a vital mom meeting.
You are late for work.
Of course I'm late for work. How can I be on time when Principal Skinner keeps me after school?
This guy Skinner causing you trouble?
He sure is, Patron.
Perhaps we should go to meet and greet this individual. Come on, boys.
Angered by Bart's tardiness, Fat Tony tries to help Bart by saying he'll talk with Skinner. Bart should have picked up on the Mafia lingo, but was focused on doing milk shots. The next day, Skinner is missing, and Bart fears the worst.
Know how to break this to you, but Principal Skinner is missing.
Uh-oh.
He goes to ask Tony if he killed his principal, which he casually denies. At that exact moment, the Mafia Club is raided by police, and Bart is considered a prime suspect in the murder case.
Mo, you're all under arrest for the murder of Seymour Skinner.
What's a murder?
Don't play dumb with me. Cuff 'em, boys.
The Mafia, having not committed a crime, throw Bart under the bus, but not in front of a car as Burns previously did. Bart's after-school job has gone from cocktail to risky business, where A Few Good Men is about to make his eyes wide shut. Reference from Tom Cruise movies with posters. Thankfully, Skinner arrives just in time to explain the whole ordeal. He states that Fat Tony and his mob friends did only talk to Skinner. His disappearance was an accident involving old newspapers in his garage. A premise so absurd it could be its episode. Bart is proven innocent, but stops working for the Mafia. He won't be rich anymore, but he's still got an excellent TV movie out of it. The lesson here is never to make drinks for the Mafia. If you do, you might be framed for murder, and that's not worth a TV movie, no matter what celebrity the studio gets to play you. Now let's get into a Sideshow Bob episode with Season 5, Episode 2, Cape Fear.
Oh my God! Someone's trying to kill me! Oh, wait, it's for Bart.
And murder is on somebody's mind.
But who'd want to hurt me? I'm this century's Dennis the Menace.
Where Bart is most vulnerable to Bob's grudge. Of course, nearly every Sideshow Bob episode is Bart in mortal danger, but Cape Fear deserves special mention for how targeted Bart becomes. Bob's vengeance is made clear early in the film when he sends Bart death threats. He writes these letters in blood, no less. That's very intimidating for threats, but not so much for letters to the editor. Fearing the worst, the Simpsons are placed in a relocation program.
Don't worry, Mrs. Simpson. We've helped hundreds of people in danger. We'll give you a new name, a new job, new identities.
Unfortunately, Bob continues to stalk Bart and his family to their houseboat location. Bob will eventually strike when the time is right, but probably when he recovers from his environmental threats. His top 10 enemies include cactuses, elephants, and rakes. Forget Bart. Rakes are his biggest enemies. After a slew of Cape Fear references, Bob strikes at night. He pushes the boat offshore, ties up the family, and corners Bart with a machete. It looks like a brutal end for the boy who knew too much, but Bart knows that Bob can't resist the theater and that the directors wouldn't waste a chance to use Kelsey Grammer's pipes. So Bart stalls for the time by having Bob sing the entire score to HMS Pinafore.
The ocean blue and our saucy ships of beauty, we are sober men and true and attentive to our duty.
This gives him just enough time for the boat to crash ashore in Springfield, where brothel-bound policemen arrest Bob. With Bob back in prison, the Simpsons can safely return to Springfield just in time to see Grandpa with boobs. Manipulative love is in the air with Season 6, Episode 7, Bart's Girlfriend, where Bart is seduced by the baddest of bad girls. Church goes from boring to beautiful when Bart falls for Jessica, the daughter of Reverend Lovejoy.
I don't think God's words have ever sounded so plausible.
Thanks, Art. I have to.
At first, Bart doesn't think he has a chance. His attempt at being nice and getting into her good graces fail. Lisa clarified that Bart is a bad boy and she is a good girl. They're too different. But Lisa is wrong. Jessica turns out to be a bad girl who loves bad boys. Nothing makes her swoon harder than Bart's prank.
No, I'm not. I'm really...
Yes, you are. You're bad. And I like it.
I'm bad to the bone, honey.
Revealing Willie's nudity to all. After a disastrous dinner where Bart insults Jessica's parents, she reveals her love for the bad. The problem is that Jessica is too extreme of a troublemaker for Bart. She often tricks him into hazardous stunts such as skateboarding down a steep hill. Jessica goes too far when stealing the money from the church collection plate. Bart is the last person with a plate, so he's blamed for this incident.
What is it, a Unitarian?
The town treats him like a criminal, but Lisa sticks up for him. She tries to appeal to Jessica's conscience and makes her confess in church. However, since she enjoys being bad, Lisa accuses her anyway. Soon, Jessica's stash is found and Bart is off the hook. Bart may be a kid who loves trouble, but even he has its limits. Limit, thy name is Jessica. Bart's mental health becomes an issue in Season 11, Episode 2, Brother's Little Helper. Bart's latest prank involves flooding the school gym, and an angry Skinner wants to find a new solution besides punching a clown.
Really done it this time. Yeah, it all kind of came together.
He deems Bart to have attention deficit disorder and that the only way to curb this behavior is to take a new drug. That seems way out of bounds for a principal to declare, but whatever. Bart takes a new medication called Focusant. At first, the drug works and Bart is more attentive, but then...
We should have paid more attention to these side effects. It's all here. Erratic behavior, paranoia, diarrhea.
I don't think he has diarrhea.
But how do we know, Marge? How do we know?
Bart starts getting paranoid. He starts believing that Major League Baseball is spying on people with satellites. This is how you know the episode is dated. Why satellites when social media is way easier for stealing data? Nobody believes Bart, and he decides to take matters into his own hands.
Hey, I had Lenny's name on that.
They have it now. And who are they, exactly? Who else? Major League Baseball.
Marge, I think Bart's gone crazy.
Or rather, he starts driving a tank with his own hands. He rampages through town before aiming at the sky and firing one shot. As it turns out, Bart was right. He shot down a Major League Baseball satellite doing precisely what he stated.
He's right. This thing's got info on everybody. Addresses, credit ratings, what size baseball hat they wear.
Surveillance beam.
The truth is then quickly covered up by a cameo for Mark McGuire, distracting them with dingers. This episode is unique because Bart is a victim of knowing the truth and nobody believes him. So we now live in the world where the MLB knows all our hat sizes. Bart tries to warn us. Maybe we should have listened and eaten the shorts. The next Bart victimization episode is Season 14, Episode 11, Barting Over, where Bart is the victim of his parents' past actions. When cleaning out the garage, Bart discovers a videotape of him appearing at a commercial. Of course, Bart has been in Butterfinger commercials, but these ads were from when he was a baby.
Oh my God, that's me! This isn't Bart's sad, it's Bart's ad. Wait, I was in a commercial?
Also, the baby stink breath ad is canon. Bart then questions his parents about the decision, which was covered up. Marge states that Bart's commercial made a lot of money, but Homer spin it all.
Stink breath and not even tell me!
I was going to tell you on my deathbed.
Honey, you did have a great time doing those commercials, and you made a lot of money.
I did. Where is it?
Your father invested it in a college trust fund.
Naturally, for his justifiable feelings of being exploited, Bart sues his parents and emancipates himself, a word Homer does not understand.
You little...
Of course, Bart returns home, but only after Homer makes things right. This starts with a skateboarding contest involving Tony Hawk, but ends with Homer accepting an advertising gig to pay Bart back for all his money. After all, stealing money from Bart like that is pretty low, even for a father who regularly strangles his son. Let's return to Sideshow Bob with Season 12, Episode 13, Day of the Jackanapes. What sets this episode apart from Cape Fear is that Bart goes from being attacked by a killer to becoming a killer. This time, Bart wants revenge on Krusty more than Bart. He intends to do this by using Bart as a weapon. He traps Bart and hypnotizes the child into hating the TV clown. This manipulation seems to work as Bart works the crotch of a Krusty statue. With this plan, Bob can kill two birds with one stone, or to be more accurate, two rivals with one explosive. He straps a bomb to Bart's body and programs him to hug Krusty during his farewell special.
My little hypno-assassin. Your cue to attack will be when Krusty says, "I've never had such a great audience." You will run up and hug him.
Bob changes his plans, however, when he learns of Krusty's respect for him. With Krusty's feelings of remorse, Bob has to stop his bombing.
Want to say, Sideshow Bob, I'm sorry. Oh, Bob, you repaid my abuse with raw hatred, but I need you today, oh, Bob. Well, you went to Apu's and you framed me, so they locked me away.
Oh, that sweet, funny man.
Thankfully, Mr. Teeny ditches the bomb, and the only damage is to soulless network executives who rematerialize anyway. Bart has survived becoming the hypnotized victim of a suicide bombing. Considering he would have died blowing up Krusty, it seems the worst way to go. For Bob's evil plan, he is punished with a guillotine. Well, kinda. We never see it happen, so let's just assume we replace his body with a palm tree for the execution. Finally, there's Season 18, Episode 18, The Boys of Bummer, which has Bart at his lowest. Being victimized by one or two people is bad enough, but an entire town? Bart starts off doing great in Little League Baseball when he catches a fly ball. His team is headed for the championships. Things are looking good for the Isotopes, a name that proves how limited Springfield is with nuclear-themed teams. But when the championship arrives, Bart misses a pop-up and can't seem to pick up the ball. He comes down with a case of the Butterfingers, not the good kind that gets you marketing deals.
Butterfinger Group.
Hey, there's no Butterfinger Group.
Au contraire, mon frère.
The town hates Bart for losing the championship, which is a lot of weight to place on a kid. Actually, hate might not be a strong enough word. He takes abuse from more than fans, including Police Chief Wiggum, who prolongs the pain of a failure.
He's back! Go nuts, everyone!
Even baseball legend Joel LaBoot can't lift his spirits as he joins in on the dogpiling. The hatred for Bart takes the form of graffiti. The phrase, "I hate Bart Simpson," is written on everything in Springfield, from buildings to Barney. The town soon discovers the culprit is Bart himself. The constant hatred has mutated himself into a monster of self-loathing.
See? I hate me too. Now we can be friends again.
While spray painting, Bart sucks on a water tower. The mom antagonizes him further, and he falls to the ground. Thankfully, he doesn't die and is only hospitalized, preventing the origins of some supernatural serial killer. After Bart is hospitalized, Marge scolds the town for their hateful actions. I mean, she could have seen it coming, considering the town's billboard labels them as the meanest city in America.
Now, if you'll excuse us, this is a sacred moment.
For a sports boo-boo, what have you people ever done?
Well, I wrote a best-selling series of mystery novels. Stephen King called it scary good fun.
Besides that, now, thanks to you, my special little guy will be haunted by this for the rest of his life. I always thought that was just a slogan to attract small businesses.
If Bart hadn't survived the fall, they might have had to change it to the deadliest city to lose a ball game in. The baseball game is restaged so Bart can catch a pop-up and restore his confidence. Is that too easy of a fix? Maybe, but Springfield owns Bart. He became the victim of mob hatred for a mere baseball game. That's twice when baseball has worked against Bart. The sport just seems to bring out the worst in people. Anyway, Bart did nothing wrong in The Boys of Bummer and received unwarranted hate, making this the top episode where Bart was a victim. So what do you think? Were there any episodes we missed? Which episode do you think had Bart become victimized the most? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos.